All right, where
Rob
we at?
G, Maxx Crosby, Jay Glazer from Fox.
Either.
I ain't gonna be here. That's your man. How you feel?
Not great. That Jay Glazer said today on Yahoo Sports Daily. Basically, that Maxx Crosby is done with the Raiders. Now, we all recall at the end of the season, we talked about it on the show.
He was mad.
The team wanted to shut him down and put him on IR, and he was pissed about it. He left the facility in a huff. They ultimately did it. They said he needs surgery.
Then they canceled the facility after that. Oh, that was that show. I'm sorry.
That was the show. The facility.
Yeah. Now, he obviously did need surgery because he got surgery, but in his eyes, I could have played through it. I want to finish the season. This is what I'm about. I play football. Jay Glazer reported that he thinks that Crosby's time with the Raiders is done, point blank period, and that Crosby has already told ownership, I do not want to go through another rebuild. Even though I love being a Raider, I want to be a Raider. It's time for me to go. And according to Jay Glazer, the expectation is that if and when Maxx Crosby does get traded, he's going to be getting more for the Raiders than the Cowboys got from Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons fetched you 2 first-rounders and a Pro Bowl defensive tackle.
I'm looking at this as what we talked about with Micah Parsons. One of the reasons, real quick, to go back to what you said, why he might get more, part of that is just simply next man up. That happens with the quarterback position. That happens with, obviously, star defensive ends. There's always that one guy, defensive end or edge rusher, that gets is Myles Garrett? Okay, then it's Micah Parsons? Okay, now it's going to be Maxx Crosby. So I think that's a part of it. And also, I think there is an element of the perception of him, as you mentioned. I didn't want to leave. I stay here. And he's kind of got that nose to the ground. Let's just keep it going, grinder mode. His motor is crazy, as we know. So I think a lot of teams would like that. But like Micah, and you, to give you credit, you said the Packers before Micah, and then obviously they get Micah. If he stays healthy, maybe he makes a play or two to get Caleb down, not have that 4th and 8, and you're moving up. So the Packers obviously feel very happy they have Micah, and I'm looking at this the same way with some other teams. Do you look at a team? You look at is this what a team like you want to go with the Chargers? Is this a team, if you want to go with anybody that's right there, the Chiefs, I feel like we just need a defensive guy.
I can't see the Chiefs.
Well, they don't like spending money. But
no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I really – that would be so – considering where they are, the money that they spent.
Buffalo Bills. So you can say Josh Allen's going to Josh, but if we can get a guy who can get him an extra possession or two because he got the team off the field or he got a sack strip fumble, you look at a team like Buffalo. Can he do that? There's a team to me contending. He's already spent half of his career, if not 2/3 of his career, losing and not having great seasons with the Raiders. I think he's now going to want to go somewhere and have that Micah Parsons situation. And you could argue Micah had chances. You got in the postseason. You were 12-5 3 years in a row. You had your chances. Max has never really had it, so I know he wants to get a taste of what the playoffs feel like. Raiderized?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like seriously, where you're in such a bad situation and you've lost so much. Because we used to say that in Detroit, lionized,
yeah, that's real.
Raiderized. Do you know what I mean? Where
people would, or they come at the end of their career.
Exactly. We saw that. Who was the linebacker that they got who was really good, and he came at the end of his career for the Lions. This is during the Barry Sanders, but from New Orleans. Why am I?
Not Vilma.
No.
From New Orleans. Wait, he came from the city, or he played with the Saints?
He played with the Saints. My goodness, and he was at, you know what I mean?
Just where they did that all. And then they got my man, it's a personal friend of mine, Desmond Howard at the end. They was just getting anybody at the end because it was almost like
Pat Swilling.
Yep.
Pat Swilling was a star with the Saints, and he got to Detroit.
And then it makes you as the fan go, all right, if he can muster up, and you're like,
he was a star with the Saints, and he was done by the time he got to the Lions.
Are you thinking he might have used all his juice?
That's what I'm trying to say. Is I don't know. I mean, that's always a scary thing when someone's been somewhere for a long time and then, he's ready to bail out. Is it too late? Are they doing it a year or two too late?
People will want him to get out of here and, get out of there.
I've been hearing that for years with him. Yeah. I mean, for years. So it's not. This is not new.
He is like the NFL equivalent of Dame
Lillard. I knew you were going to say that.
Where it's everybody been saying, you are too good. This team sucks.
And he never wanted to go anywhere. Right.
And he's one of those guys who's loyal almost to a fault.
Yep.
Where even I, as a Raiders fan, as optimistic as I was about the Geno-Pete Carroll pairing, I blew up in our face. But I'm like, hey, we can win 8 or 9 games with these guys. Like, we can be a 500 in the hunt in December. And
It wasn't that long ago. How many years ago didn't they make the playoffs?
Derek Carr, yeah.
Derek Carr.
Right. I was like 4 years, 3 years ago.
After misstep after misstep, and you think to yourself, this guy, and you watch him on a week-to-week basis, he is as good as Micah Parsons.
No, I get it.
He is maybe not as good, but near in the vicinity.
Oh yeah, there's like
Garrett.
4 or 5 guys. Aiden
He's
Hutchinson,
as
Micah,
good as J.J.
him,
Watt. Like he's right there with all
T.J. Watt.
But nobody talks about him because he plays for the Raiders. Now, unless he was going to go full Myles Garrett and break the sack record, that's the reason why he separated himself. But if you go to the other guys, the reason why they were talked about in a different light is because Aiden Hutchinson making big plays in December. Micah Parsons up until last year, or not this past year, the year before.
12-5 seasons.
12-5. They're in the playoffs. He didn't do anything in the playoffs, but he was there.
Right.
Nick Bosa in the Super Bowl. J.J. Watt in the playoffs every year. They weren't doing anything, but they were getting there. And Maxx Crosby was almost forgotten about because his team 5-12, 4-13. 6-11.
You don't talk about those guys. There's no. What's the combo, right?
The only thing I can. He's been wanting to go to he's wanting to stay there, but I think at a certain point he's realized I have to do what's best for me and my legacy, and try to get one of those things on my ring finger. And I think he's looking forward to that now. He's been spectacular for sure, and there's been a bunch of teams that have been kind of clamoring for him, trying to get him out of there. And I think now is the time. So if you're a team right there, you say, man, if we just had an edge rusher that can come, if you're the Bengals. If you're the Bengals and you say, we already know offensively we put up points, but what do we talk about? Defensively, it makes them just so
but what do you have to give up to get them, though?
I don't know.
They're saying 2 first and another player.
I mean,
you better be right on the cusp.
You have to be.
You got to be
because if
to
not,
make that
you
worth
set
it.
your franchise back.
Yeah, so, there are a couple of teams. Like if you're I go back to Josh Allen. The time he ain't getting no younger.
I don't know how many teams are really like an edge rusher away. Like you'd have to show me a list.
So going back to the hour 2 conversation about the team versus the quarterback, hey, if you got the young quarterback, you can kind of build the rest of your roster. If you're having to give up 2 first, which we expect is the minimum to get a player like him, do you almost have to eliminate Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, because they're taking up so much of the salary cap already. You can't afford to give up first-round picks.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Well, here's a guy that he makes a bunch of money, but it's lower because each year it goes down some. But they had an amazing season. They barely lose to the Bills. What about the Jacksonville Jaguars?
They could.
They got a bunch of guys over there.
Everybody else on their team is young.
As you beat me, they got a lot of young talent over there. They overachieved,
right? I mean,
Travis Hunter's going to come back next season healthy
because he really didn't contribute.
He just started picking up right before he got injured.
So they're going to add. It's like adding another player, a playmaker.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That they didn't have.
You know a team that I'd hate to see it happen.
What?
Chicago Bears.
Bears. Okay.
We ain't gonna do that.
Look at Kelvin.
I don't want to see that.
Kelvin's like,
I don't want to see that.
Williams to fulfill the
no, that's the last thing he needs.
He already knows.
That's the last thing he needs. He's already going to be good, and already has Ben Johnson, and they got weapons all over the field and running game. Now you adding a Hall of Fame potential defensive end pass rusher like that.